Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, people of all ages, welcome back to the Sticky Floors podcast. I am one of your hosts, CJ. I am joined by Mr. Will. Mr. Will, we're back, man. I know we missed a week, man. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
hiatus.
Yeah, like everybody deserves a bye week. You know what I mean? Like bye weeks aren't just for the NFL teams. You know what I mean? They gotta be for the podcasters as well, man. Podcasters need a bye week. But
Yeah,
we are back. And listen, if this is your first time, thank you for joining. Thank you for listening in. We talk about movies that are in theaters, out of theaters, on streaming. Tonight we are talking about the Thomas Crown Affair, which is a 1999 movie that Mr. Will and I have tremendous adoration for. We can't wait to talk about it with you. But before we do that, Mr. Will, what's up with you, man? How you doing tonight, man?
yeah, I'm chilling, man. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good, man. They said I know I've heard rumors, man, that you was on the run, man, that you had warrants, and that they was
Yep.
looking for you based on one of your hot takes from a previous film or something.
If you could, when you do the editing of this joint, you got to put in the Cool G rap joint with Brother on the Run on that joint, and throw in like a video with link or whatever to his video. Shout
Or
out to Cool
somebody
G rap.
running like a little
Yeah,
emoji running
yeah,
across the screen. Yeah, it is. Yeah, I'll drop that in the chat GPT and
yeah,
they can do it for me.
As a matter of fact, there's a scene in Who's the Man with Dr. Dre and Ed Lover where they're running and stuff
Mhm.
after Guru, rest in peace. Like, and you hear Rakim in the background. I forget which song it is, but yeah, you gotta do something like that for us on this joint, yo.
There it is. There it is.
Yeah,
We'll do that. We'll do that. All right. Well, look, man, let's jump into the summary so we can get into the Thomas Crown Affair, man.
yeah, definitely. The Thomas Crown Affair presents a polished exploration of wealth, boredom, and the psychological risk through the character of Thomas Crown, played by Pierce Brosnan. Thomas is a billionaire who engineers the theft of the Monet painting not out of necessity, but out of the thrill for orchestrating the perfect crime, revealing a man who's driven more by intellectual vanity than material gain. The film carefully construes his world of calculated elegance, as well as every move being orchestrated for a business deal or romantic encounter as the strategic precision. This meticulous control is disrupted when Catherine Banning, an insurance agent portrayed by Rene Russo, enters his life and begins to match his wit and intuition. As the narrative unfolds, the film focuses on a heist story into a more layered duel of seduction and suspense between Thomas and Catherine. Their relationship becomes a psychological chess match where trust is both weaponized and withheld, blurring the line between genuine emotion and strategic manipulation. The iconic bowler hat scene at the
Mhm.
museum underscores
Definitely.
Thomas's flair for misdirection and theatricality. This reinforces also the importance of reality. Ultimately, the film suggests that individuals like Thomas, the greatest risk for him is not being caught, but allowing themselves to be vulnerable in a game they can no longer fully control.
Oh, that's a great summary, man. That's the whole joint right there. Well, that's the show, folks. Nah, that was really on point, man. This film stars Pierce Brosnan, Rene Russo, Dennis Leary, Frankie Faison, which is a great name, by the
Yeah,
way.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
that's up there with Derek for real. And Faye Dunaway, released in 1999 on a $48 million budget. Box office was 125 million, so it did pretty good. If
Yep.
you want to check this out, it is on Tubi for free. So definitely check that because gas prices is up. So you can save yourself
Yo,
that
$4 to
$3.99 on a
$7
movie.
a gallon, depending on where you live at, maybe even
Crazy.
10 in some spots.
Crazy. Yo, get Tubi for free. Tubi is
Woo.
free. Watch this movie on there. It's a remake of the 1968 film that starred Steve McQueen, Faye Dunaway, who was also in that,
Yep.
Paul Burke, and Jack Weston. Interestingly enough, it was referenced. What it kind of reminded me of this film was it was referencing the Crime 101 joint with Chris Hemsworth and Halle Berry, which is what
Shout out to
reminded
them.
me. Yeah, absolutely. And a remake for this movie is being discussed, starring Academy Award winner Michael B. Jordan, and it feels good to say Academy Award winner Michael B. Jordan. So
That's
that's
tough.
that's the details on the Thomas Crown Affair, man. Yo, there was something. So I want to jump into this, man. When you gave your summary of it, what I thought about was how much is in the film and how the film actually pulls it off. Because it's
Mm.
like you think it's a theft film, and it is, but then it's also a film about a romantic drama that actually works. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And it pulls both those things off. Sometimes we see movies where it does one thing well, but then it falls on the other. This one kind of balances both
Not just that too, it's a remake. So now it's being held
to the
to the
standard.
standard of the first film. And actually, I just saw the first film for the first time, maybe like early 2025.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually like Steve McQueen, well, acting wise, until I started discovering some of his
Other stuff.
virtual view. And then I was like, then I had mixed feelings and stuff. But at the same token, I'm like, man, this was a pretty good film. And they're both starkly different.
Yeah.
This tone of this one is a little bit lighter.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's some comedic, you know, half-hearted attempts in here. It's not too serious, not too dark. Whereas the first film, oh, it's just all the way like straight, like, yo, action, suspense.
Mm-hmm.
There's something going on here. It's a very much more serious tone, which also helps me to appreciate why they went into a different direction with this, utilizing someone who's charismatic, suave, and debonair like
Yeah.
Pierce Brosnan, because you associate a sense of sophistication yet arrogance because he played Remington Steele, because he played
Yes.
007, because he's Irish and he has an accent. You almost get away with it like this snooty, like backhanded compliment type of joint. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And like how sometimes you'll see online where people will say a certain actor was born to play a certain
Yeah,
role,
yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah,
They'll,
yeah,
they'll
yeah.
they'll always do it with like Robert Downey Jr. and Iron
Mm,
Man or
yeah,
Hugh Jackman, Wolverine. I have to say, man, Pierce Brosnan to me will always be James Bond,
yeah.
right? Like even like you said, Remington Steele,
Mhm.
the James Bond movies. Even when we saw him in Black Bag, which we
Yeah.
covered in episode 72, right? He was so cool in that. Like this dude is in the cool white man Hall of Fame of actors, man. He really is, man. He's just a smooth dude, man. Like you believe that he can like be running a business, right? And that he can pull off that bowler hat thing at the end, and he could be, sexing Rene Russo up a staircase. I'm like, you believe it because it's like, yeah, that's Pierce Brosnan. He could
Yeah,
do it.
he can do
I believe that.
Yo, the crazy thing is he's timeless because there's times where he looks younger than what he is, and then
Mhm.
times he looks older than what he is. I was going through his filmography trying to remember a lot of the shows that I had seen or whatever have you, and even on Netflix they have like a whole category based upon him.
Yep.
I'm like, yo, this was just 10 years ago. And he looks like he was in his 30s. And then
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, this was 5 years ago and he looks like he's 100. How do
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
pull that off?
Yeah. And he still keeps his smoothness though. He's still a
Yeah.
cool dude regardless. Yeah. Yeah.
Yo,
It's like George Clooney. George Clooney's got
yeah,
that
yeah,
too.
he's one. Yep,
Where he just
he's one.
stayed. He's in the cool white guy Hall of Fame
Yeah,
too.
yeah. Oh,
Him,
yeah, definitely. Right
you
next
know,
to him.
yeah, him, Brad Pitt,
Yep.
another dude, cool white man Hall of Fame guys that just they're cool. Like even
The funny thing is, you just mentioned three dudes where like the females in my family, strong black women, they're like, yo, I would mess with him.
yeah,
Like
he get
I've
it.
heard
Yeah.
them say this to me, and I'm like,
Yeah.
wow. Like
Yeah.
I'm like, you're married to a black man. I'm like,
Cool is cool. Cool is cool, man.
yo,
Cool transcends
yo.
race.
I
That's
heard
what
my
it is.
grandmother say this, man, and I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, grandma.
Yeah. It's an interesting thing, man. And you can't buy that. You
No.
can't. It's something that certain people just have. And
Yes.
and Pierce Brosnan is just a cool dude, man. He just looks like, yo, if you saw him, you would just hang out and be like, and cool stuff would happen as a
Yeah.
result of it.
I would not be surprised to get a phone call from my team and they like, yo, we're chilling with Pierce Brosnan at a pub out in Ireland, man. And yo, it's on fire over here, yo.
Right, exactly. And it's a perfect, just like you're saying for the movie, he's a perfect person to cast in that role.
He
You
is,
know,
man.
I got one for you. Remember when he did the joint After the Sunset with Salma Hayek
Yeah,
and
yeah. I love that
what do
movie,
you
man.
yes, but you believe it. You like,
Because of this movie.
yeah, you're like, yeah, he could pull Salma Hayek. He could do that.
Because of this movie.
He's cool. He's Pierce Brosnan. He can pull
Pulling
that
a
off
heist on an ocean
on an
liner.
island. Yeah, you believe it. Right. He's like I said, he might be the chair of the cool white man Hall of Fame in film.
You gotta remember too, man, Remington Steele comes out when basically we're like preteens or whatever have
Mhm.
you. and they were talking about him being 007 after the long run by Roger Moore, rest in
Yep.
power. And
Yep.
I was like, they should have been put him on, man.
Right. Right.
Like,
And then they did Timothy
the
Dalton
Dalton, yep.
for 2 movies before they finally put him in. Yeah.
And I was
Yep.
like, you should have been done this, man. He should have been on the radar.
Yeah. 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 I mean, just like a cool dude. And he does it so well in this movie, right? He carries it with, like you said, a perfect, like a debonair sort of arrogance too,
Yeah. Oh,
which plays perfectly against Dennis Leary's cop, who's like very grounded and kind of like, just like a dude who just eats pizza every day. Like he's like that type of dude versus like, versus Thomas Crown, who's like escargot and, fine wine and, has his lawyer over for dinner. Like it's a great contrast that makes it where Rene Russo's character, of course she's going to be attracted to him because like he's the coolest white dude in the movie.
The crazy thing about everything you just said is he has a daughter in this who is like you would associate with that's his girlfriend. And
Yes.
I understand why Rene Russo would be like a little insecure, not really like
she wants a younger woman. Yeah.
Yeah. So like everything plays, even the subtle, backdrops and storylines underneath it all plays real well. And he's able to carry that because of who he is. Because you believe someone like him could pull someone young as her, but yet someone as old as Rene Russo. Like
absolutely,
he runs the spectrum. I mean, I just told you the anecdotal part for a reason that every female recognizes, as you put it, cool is cool, and he's able to. He has that in Trump spades, man. Like he has that throughout. It just permeates throughout his entire being, man.
Yeah, it really does. It really does, man. And then the other thing is, we talked about they're thinking about remaking this again now, right? With
wow,
with Michael B. Jordan. Like, what do you think it is that makes this story, this movie, so endearing to people that they're like, yo, we want to keep making this type of film? And literally the Thomas Crown Affair. Like, we'd make it that and then just switch it up a little.
That's a dope question. And my mind automatically goes to the place of this famous saying, and I'm probably going to butcher it, but guys want to be him and women want to be with him, or like the you know what I mean? Like,
I know exactly what you mean. Yeah.
And I think it's what it represents as far as like, matter of fact, it's crazy too. This is so on point. I read this stat and it was nothing that I hadn't read already about how between 6'1" and 6'4", if you're an athlete, you generate more torque, more force because of the width of your bones, the length of your bones, the shape of your bones in comparison to someone who's shorter than you don't generate that same amount of force. Yep. Simultaneously, it's the reason why, say, for example, Barack Obama or Arnold Schwarzenegger can go into a room and have a certain gravitas, a certain presence before they even open their mouth. Why? Because as you know, with any business, if you're of a certain stature, a certain tall individual can command the room because it's respect. You have to reach certain eye level. It appears as if he's more profound when he's saying something because of the statuesque presence that he is conveying. Arnold was 6'2", Barack is 6'1". These two gentlemen, just based upon who they are and able to command the respect of the room and navigating from here and there, they do it in their own way. Arnold has the well-known accent, whatever have you. But at the same token, he has the muscular build. He was Mr. Olympian for the longest, but he has that presence that he's able to convey to them. Barack may be slender, but he still has that very suave and debonair. I juxtapose those with Pierce Brosnan. I'm not sure of his whole length or whatever have you, but he appears bigger than what he is, just like those two gentlemen that I named before. And Michael B. Jordan is in that same vein. He may be about 6 feet, 5'11", but again, he has the physique, the muscular build, he has the commanding presence, the state of mind, the ability to be, charming and suave and smooth and refined. And I think the fact is, this is what that movie represents. What it wants from its leaders. It's what it demands.
That's a great answer.
When you're going to, different stations in life. You look at someone who's small, and no mock to them, but you don't feel as safe. You hear women say it all the time. They want to be around someone that gives off this aura that they can be safe with them. And I
Yeah.
think, the Thomas Crown Affair being remade in those same veins, here's somebody who operates on his own, who's able to do all these different things, go into these different spheres and interact with the people on their level. But you don't know what's really going on in his mind.
Yeah.
And then at the same token, he meets someone who's able to, like I mentioned in the synopsis, battle him with intuition, wits, charm. Like, it's like, oh, now it's a
Yeah.
cat and mouse type of game. Everyone's intrigued. They're fully engaged all the time. I think that's what this represents, man.
Yeah, no, that's a great answer, man. That makes a lot of sense. And what, as you were saying it, it reminds me of one of my favorite things about why Ben Affleck works as Batman, because he's got like this, he can play the Bruce Wayne joint, but he's like the goon. He's like
Yeah,
the king
you
of
say it all the time.
the king of the rich goons is Bruce
Yeah.
Wayne. You know what I mean? Like, you get that vibe, like, yeah, nah, this dude might want to fight somebody in an alley. Like, hey, Alfred, pull over for a second. Let me go in this alley and beat this guy. Like, you can get that from him. So yeah. So I dig that. I get that. That's a good answer. All right. So let's get into our cake, man.
Yeah.
All right. So let me run this down. So I got 4 things about this movie that I really dug. The first is the score. So, like, the score has a way of making it feel like a lot is happening. Like, it's very upbeat. Especially, I love that song at the end.
Oh, yeah.
The Simone song while all the theft is happening. So the score does a great job of just kind of making it seem like energetic, because on the surface, a movie about stealing art is probably not that interesting, but the score really pushes it along. I love the chemistry between like Crown and Catherine, Brosnan and Russo. It's hard not to have, it's we already said about about Pierce Brosnan and how he carries it. But I also like the dialogue, and I like that it's like good game. Like, just, as a person who just likes to see good game happen, I liked watching like how he kind of got her in the movie, and like even down to the scene where she has that weird green drink that she likes. He already had his man make it for her. She was like, dang, you knew this was gonna happen. And he was like, yeah, Pierce Brosnan. Yeah, I like that. And I also like how, in the movie, Catherine is really sharp, but as sharp as she is, Crown is like one step ahead of her and everybody else all the time. And I like that they kept that vibe for him through there. It reminds me of something that I'm gonna talk about in my hot takes. And then last, the whole story with the bowler cat thing, just a great scene. Just the whole thing of it and how he like puts all the other people in there. I just like how they pulled that off. How they put off that part of the thing. So that's my cake, man.
We have a lot in common, just outside of the movie, but it shows up in this movie as well. In the same order you mentioned it, in reverse rather. I love the bowler scene. It's one of the best, well executed, like, what did they call that joint, man? When they had like the whole crowd come in and they start doing the choreographed, whatever it is.
Flash mobs. Flash mob. Yeah.
That's what it reminded me of during that time. And I think AT&T had a commercial with the bowler hat thing too. So like it really jumped things off. And then the famous painting with the apple and everything like that, just reminiscent off of that joint is dope. You mentioned Rene Russo and Pierce Brosnan's chemistry and how, he's always one step ahead of her. I would even take it a step further to piggyback off of the whole like remake and why they would do that. And that would be, every man wants a woman who's challenging in some way. I don't know how it shows up for each man, but they want to be stimulated some way or challenged some way in that relationship.
No doubt.
She's able to do that, and I think it touches a button for all people. It allows you to remember that yes, women can be strong, independent, powerful in their own way, when embracing their femininity and who they are, and yet at the same token, men can also be men and in their masculinity and understand what that means. And then at the same token, they complement each other. You don't do what I do. I don't do what you do. We may have similarities. There may be some overlappings, but we still are valued and respected because we're different. Different doesn't mean bad. It doesn't mean good. It just means different. And so that synergy that they're able to create, I love that. You know what I mean? Like it just
point of the film.
Yeah, it's that exactly. It's the whole crux of the film where where I end, you begin, and et cetera, et cetera. And then at the same token, I think with that same relationship, we understand the fragility of life. when they're separated and they're going through their own thing, and he doesn't fully get to explain himself as to how
Mhm.
this happened, and she doesn't fully reveal her motivation because they're both scared of true intimacy and they don't want to be hurt
And
and
the
feel
commitment.
vulnerable.
It's true.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
what
the
that
true
really
commitment. Yeah.
means. And they both love what they do and how they move and how they had lives separate from one another, and they come to love that, but then at the same time they keep being drawn together because of that magnetism. This movie is real life in certain
Yeah.
elements, you know what I mean? So I think that's another thing about it that I love. Like you mentioned, the score, like that build up, that suspense, that whole thing of
Yeah.
like, is he going to get caught? Even though he's never going to get caught.
Yeah.
Is she going to lose him? Even though she's never going to lose him.
Hmm.
Like that whole will they, won't they? I think it just builds up everything to make a very poignant movie, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing too that you brought up is the movie would not work as well if their chemistry wasn't as
Oh
good.
no, no, no,
Like
no.
that relationship is really the middle 2/3 of the film. It's
Yeah,
really them trying to figure out, can they trust each other enough to really want to be with each other.
definitely.
The heists are at the ends of the movie. There's the
Hmm.
heist in the beginning and the heist at the end. So that's like the bookend parts. If they don't have, it just wouldn't have worked. So yeah, you're right. It has to work because it's them working with each other well. So that makes
Yeah,
sense.
and
Um,
not to
good.
mention too, man. Like you had mentioned, um, you know, the movie beginning and ending with the heist scenes. That's the perfect sandwich, man, because like it draws you in,
Yeah.
and it states its thesis at the beginning,
Yep.
and then it in the middle, it gives you all the stuff as to why that works, how it works, what's the dynamic, the interplay, and then at the end it drops you back off to where it began. So it's like a
Yeah.
full moment, a full disclosure of what the movie is about. And like the way the cinematography and the director is able to capture all of that in between. And this is definitely a dope movie, man.
Yeah. It really is. It really is, man. All right. So go first on the hate, man. The things that you didn't like as much about the film, man.
As well as this movie executes all of the previously stated, the storyline is predictable. Like
Mhm.
like I had alluded to.
There's no risk.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
There's
True.
no real risk here. The pacing sometimes is a little bit different. Sometimes it can be a little bit too slow.
Mhm.
Especially after we talked about the cinematography being able to capture all the different movements. After we talked about the score and the music building up the pace and the momentum, seeing a little bit faster than what it is. Sometimes, it's a little bit deliberate. I get it, but the viewers might expect a more fast-paced style throughout the continuous movie, and that may be a little bit off-putting. Then there's the limited character development. Like I like CJ mentioned Dennis Leary. I like Dennis Leary, especially
Mhm.
during that time period. The way he was able to capture a raw and grittiness
Mhm.
from the white male perspective, from Boston. And he's a redhead. You know what I mean? Like, so he's real fiery, and he used to talk real fast. And I remember him in the Bo Jackson Nike commercials, and
Oh,
just that
right.
essence.
That's right.
I
I
would
do
have liked to
remember.
see a little bit more build up of him.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and then, the romance seems a little unrealistic at times, like automatically they're thrust into it, but yet she's the one who's out to prove that he's a bad guy. So
Mhm.
it's a little like disingenuous because it's like, why are you attracted to somebody you're trying to put in jail? And
Yeah.
and if you're trying to put them in jail, are you really
Right.
trying to put them in jail
Yeah.
because you're attracted to them?
Her behavior is highly questionable
Yeah,
throughout the throughout.
like,
It really is.
so and then the emotional shift is just so rapid. You know what I mean? She's out to get him, and then all of a sudden she's in bed with them,
That's a
and
really good point.
you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like, so
Yeah.
it's just like,
Yeah.
man, he got you like that, and you're supposed to be
Yeah.
on point.
Yeah.
Um,
He got her open quick. He did.
yeah, you know
He
what I'm
really
saying?
did. Yeah, he did. That's
So
true.
the whole arc is a little bit crazy, and then she goes from 0 to 100 on his daughter. If you're really
Mhm.
involved and you
And
really like
it's
this
the
dude,
other painter's daughter. It's the other
yeah.
big daughter. Yeah, yeah.
So it's just
Yeah.
like, come on, yo, you know what I mean? And then last but not least, like CJ mentioned, the real tension is not real tension. The stakes
Yeah.
aren't really that high because he's going to put the painting back. It's just how is he going to put the painting back? Don't get me wrong. Like I said, one of the best in cinema history. Closure, land. Last
Mhm.
CJ put sticking the landing, but it's just like he's going to put it back. He's
Yeah.
not going to lose her. He loves her.
And the thing about that part is how it's different from like the Ocean 11 movies. They always do that thing where they kind of go back and then show you what
Hmm.
really
Hmm.
happened
Yeah,
at the
yeah,
end.
yeah.
This movie doesn't do that.
I
So when
love
you
that though.
realize that, yeah, I really liked that more because then it felt like I had to really be paying attention in a way that was different than sometimes where those movies pull it off. So yeah, so that's that. All right, so these are my hates. A couple things, man. Number one, okay, so when Thomas Crown in the beginning of the movie, he brings in the briefcase that stops the thing from
Yeah, the
cracking
gate
down.
from going all the way down.
Yeah, his fingerprints are all over that. So if they took that out and dusted it, they would have found like, oh, these are
I
well,
keep thinking he had gloves on, and then
he
you know
did
what? You're right.
he didn't
Yeah.
have gloves on. But now that I think about it, he wouldn't be in the system. They wouldn't have to take it. Prince wouldn't be there because he's Thomas Crown. Maybe they found him. Yeah, no, everybody's an FBI thing.
Yeah.
So yeah. Yeah. So that's the thing. They would have found him. It'd have been a 10-minute movie off that. All right. Second thing is no police unit is gonna let an investigator just come mess with their whole operation like the way they let Rene Russo go
And
into the
she's an
dude's
insurance
house.
agent. She ain't a real
Yeah,
cop.
that ain't happening. That was a bit of a stretch.
Yes.
So the next joint, okay, that dance scene between Pierce Brosnan and Rene Russo is just mad awkward. Like it doesn't. I don't know
And we
what the
talked
music.
about how smooth he was too.
The music that's playing doesn't match up with the dance that they're doing. And then the sex scene afterwards, because I'm old, right? When I watch it now, I'm like, oh, your back is gonna be messed up on that staircase, on that porcelain staircase. They ain't having falling off desks and everything. Y'all ain't young enough for that. They don't have the They don't have the A1C to be doing
Bounce
that.
back, yeah,
Nah, they ain't happening. That would be, they'd be going to the hospital afterward. That's like, shout out to older people. We know that ain't happening. Good try. Then the next thing, his therapist, right? And we said played by Faye Dunaway. His therapist is terrible.
Yo, she is.
No one pays a therapist to root against their health.
No.
Like no one. Imagine you paying somebody to root for your demise. Like that just wouldn't happen. So that was that. And then, okay, so I like how he gets the painting back, right? And you realize that it was always there. But they don't even bother trying to explain how he stole the other painting because they're like, forget it. You watch it this long, you don't care anyway.
You don't care anymore.
Right. So that was the things that I didn't like that much about it. But it's good, but it's like the plot is just kind of doing some crazy stuff.
And for the record, Pierce Brosnan is 6'2".
Okay. There it is. He's got
That's
all
why
the
it definitely works. Yeah, man.
Yeah. All right, cool. Yo, all right, let's get into the questions, man. All right, so I'll go first. I got 2 for you, man.
All right.
All right, so first one. So Thomas Crown, right? He's obviously a multi-billionaire, famous dude, everything. Can someone like that really disappear? Do you think someone like that can really disappear?
What do you mean, though? Like, does he? Because I'm looking at it 2 different ways, and I just want you to clarify.
Well, what I mean is like he's basically his pitch to Catherine is, let's forget all of this stuff. Let's just focus on me and you. We'll forget I'm a criminal, you're an investigator for an insurance company. We can go somewhere and just be together. I think he still has to deal with, he is Thomas Crown. He is a multi-billionaire. And he did give that art gallery the painting that underneath the painting was the painting that was allegedly stolen, which kind of suggests that he's the person that did it in the first place.
So here's my thing. All right, we're going to dissect that. The first one is, can he do it? Yeah, I think he could. This is going to sound a little controversial, but I believe that, when a man devotes himself to something and he understands like, this is sacred to me, this is my purpose, he's going to protect it at all means, and he's going to do whatever it is, especially a billionaire.
Yeah.
He's got all the mentality of like, I'm driven, so I'm going to make it come to fruition. That thought, I'm going to make it a reality. So I think if he devoted himself to it, yeah, he would find a way.
To do it.
You know what I mean? Like we can buy an island somewhere and that's really obscure or whatever and get totally off the grid.
True. Crown Island. Okay.
Yeah. Hey, it works for me. The second thing though, I think that he could find somebody that would take the rap for him. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, he could probably pay off enough people or eliminate enough people.
I could see that.
Because again, he's a billionaire and money does that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I could see that.
All the controversies that surround rich people, money makes people look better and it allows you to do things that you normally couldn't do.
Yeah. Okay. I dig it. I dig that. All right. Next ones. I always ask these questions about like how movies work at the end. Yeah. So do you think Crown and Catherine have a happily ever after?
And you know me, I'm going to give you the typical response.
You're gonna say yes. I know. I know you, man. You go. I'm just tell me how it's gonna work out.
See, this movie really, this movie is really like one of my like, yeah, they can have a happily ever after, and here's the reason why. She loves him more than
Stuff.
he loves her, and I think you
Mm,
need that. I think you like when the power dynamic is that the guy loves the woman more, she can take advantage, or she tends to take advantage. These are generalities,
mm,
but in general, you find it that like, when Samson was more vulnerable, he allowed Delilah to cut his hair.
mm.
When Bruce Willis in any of the what you call it movies, Die Hard movies, was vulnerable, whether it be with his daughter or his wife, he ended up getting beat, like whatever. You know what I mean? But when the role is reversed, when you have a female who's like more committed to ensuring that the movie works, a la Sarah Connor and her son John Connor, or even the new joint, man, I can't. We're gonna play that game again. What's the name of the black actress who was dating the president or having an affair? Olivia Pope.
Oh, you're talking about Scandal. You're talking about
Yeah,
Sir Scandal. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
yeah. So when those things happen like that, where the female is more devoted to ensuring that the man remains upright, and you can't take my man and the boy is mine type of stuff, then it tends to work. And I think she's so into him and willing to let her guard down and throw everything away for him
That it'll work.
that it'll work.
There
Because
it
she's
is.
not going to allow anything. You know what I sacrificed for you? Like, she's not going to allow that to happen. That's my
There,
man. My man,
there,
my man.
there
Right.
it is. There it is. All right, cool, man. Give me your questions, man. What you
Yeah,
got for
here
me?
we go. What's your favorite Pierce Brosnan movie?
Um, this is a good man. That's a good question. All right, so I really like the Thomas Crown Affair, right?
Yeah.
I actually like After the Sunset a little bit more,
Mm.
probably because Salma Hayek is in it. Just quite frankly, just if I'm gonna keep it 100, right?
I love.
Now, with that said, I think my favorite joint is the James Bond movie Goldeneye.
Oh yeah, that was dope.
That's my favorite
That was
one.
dope.
Yeah, that's my joint. Like that, because we talked about in the beginning. Like, yo, I always felt like Pierce Brosnan was James Bond, right?
Yeah, man.
Like that's like for my version of the Matrix, it's Pierce Brosnan, right? Even
Mm-hmm.
though I must say I love the Daniel Craig movies more
Oh yeah.
on the
He's
whole, but like that one, Goldeneye was so good they made a video game about it that
yeah.
people played forever.
Ever, yo.
You know, first person shooter was like Goldeneye. Goldeneye was great, so I'm gonna take Goldeneye.
I can respect that, man. It's got my man Sean Bean in it, who was
Yeah,
one of the Starks who got beheaded in Game of Thrones, which is the reason why I had to stop watching it. But it also had the original Jean Grey, Famke Jensen, who
yep,
was also from the Taken series. So
yep,
yeah, I can respect that, CJ.
yeah. That
Yeah,
was a
yeah,
good one, man.
yeah. That's dope. So does this film ultimately reward or critique Crown's lifestyle and moral choices? Why or why not?
So this is the thing, man, and this like I'm gonna touch on it right now, but then I'm gonna get to it in my hot take. So
Okay.
the thing about this movie is it almost made the problem is that at the end, Dennis Leary's character is like, I got to worry about people committing real crimes,
Mm,
right? And so because of that, he kind of diminishes the fact that Crown is a thief, which I
mm.
think for the audience also allows the audience to dismiss the fact that he's a
Yeah,
thief.
yeah.
And it's like, almost like the Robin Hood thing where if you're stealing from the rich, then
Yeah,
it's
who
fine.
cares? Yeah, it's
You don't
okay.
care. If the person get robbed as a rich person or corporation, it's like it's okay.
Yeah.
It's not, but it's like that it taps into that part of how people think. And I think the movie by the police not even really wanting to pursue him and almost being like, yo, that was dope how you pulled off that heist. Like, come on, ain't no cops doing that. Like, we was gonna arrest you, but that was so fly how you did it that we gonna let you get away with it. What? That's not real. But because they do it that way, it makes
Yeah.
it all right. So I guess the movie is saying if you steal in a fly way, it's cool. You know what I mean? You get points for that. Like the judge will be like,
PowerPoints.
the judge was like, yo, I was gonna throw the book at you, but that joint with the bowler hat was tough.
Yeah.
So probation. Like what? Like he just stole a multi-million-dollar pin. Like, are you out of your mind? So, yeah, that's what I think they did.
Yo, that dude's so like
Probation. That's
that's crazy.
It is. It really is. It really is.
What commentary does the film make about risk taking as a substitute for emotional fulfillment?
Yo, you know the thing is, man, and you talked about this in the beginning too, and you said the movie was also about boredom,
Yeah.
right? And the idea that Thomas Crown is a titan of his industry, right? And
Yes.
I guess he's in real estate or something like that. It's not really 100% clear to me,
Yeah.
but he's made all this money. He's also like he says like he was a boxer. He went to like Oxford or
Yeah.
something, a boxing scholarship, right? So he's a competitive guy and he's a titan of of his industry. And I think the movie's kind of suggesting is that people like that are always looking for the next thing. You know what I mean? It's almost like if you look at in real life now, you might look at someone like Jeff Bezos and say, okay, you started Amazon, a wildly successful business, probably one of the 10 best
Mhm.
companies in the world. Now you want to build rocket ships.
Yeah.
Why? You know what I mean? Like what, but it's something about maybe that personality type that always is interested in the next thing. And I think Thomas Crown is like the avatar of that. So he's like
Mhm.
the example of like the rich person who got rich because, you know, they grinded and they did all those things, but then also they need the next conquest.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, they can take the conquest when it's about gains and losses in terms of dollars and cents, but what he's afraid of is gains and losses in terms of relationships, right? Which is why
Mm.
he's got all this money, but it's not, you don't get the sense that he's like dating. He's not even doing the Bruce Wayne, I'm pretending like I like these women thing. You know what I mean? He's just out there by himself.
Yeah.
You know, so it's an interesting thing, but I think that was the point they were trying to make with
Yo,
that.
that's dope. And you're right too, man. He did make his money through real estate,
Oh, it was real estate.
technology, and
Okay.
finance investments, all that good stuff, man. So, man, this you really know your movie, man. But I
It's,
expect nothing less from Mr. CJ over here, boys and girls.
appreciate
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
Appreciate that. That's
Uh,
you got another one? Is another question?
oh no, no, nope. That's it with the questions. Where you at with your popcorn on
All
this
right,
joint?
man. So popcorn, dang, I had this like for 3.5, man. But so
Yeah.
this is the thing. It's a fun watch, right? It's a fun watch. Pierce Brosnan carries it because he's cool. The plot is wild though. And if you really think about it a lot, it doesn't really make sense. It does have a good ending on it. I feel like I'm gonna keep it at 3.5, but let me hear what you got because that might move me a little bit on it.
See, man, I've fluctuated like you between 4 and 3.5, and here's my reasons. We articulated, all the holes, whether it be the plot armor or whatever have you with the movie,
Mhm.
but yet, and I had really been thinking about this for a minute when I know this is gonna sound crazy, but there's this artist, and I think it's AI. His name is King Willonis,
Okay. Okay.
Willonious, right? And he's got these parody movies, or she, whoever. This entity has these parody songs about just stupid things, right?
Mhm.
But the voice that sings the songs reminds me of like some old soul, soulful,
Oh, I
you know
got
what I
you.
mean,
I
strong.
got you.
So like you're not even paying attention to the lyrics per se, like how Weird Al used to do like parodies off of Michael Jackson
Michael
songs.
Jackson joints, yeah.
But imagine if Weird Al's voice was like of Frank Crocker uh, um or
Ray Kroc.
Robert Thicke or even
Mhm.
Justin Timberlake, you know what I mean? So for me, I'm looking at it like, man, this movie brings back so many good memories. I
Mhm.
love the characters, I love the actors themselves.
Yeah.
It's got iconic scenes, man. Like,
Mhm.
so after waffling back and forth, I'm going with 4, man.
Okay. All
Just
right. You
off
know what, man?
sentimentality and
You
stuff.
know what? Yeah, you talked me into it, man. It's 4. It is like I said, it works really well.
Yeah.
Russo and Brosnan, they have great chemistry. And the bowler hat scene at the end, you know, I always like how movies end well. It definitely does that. Yeah,
Sticks
I'm
the
giving 4.
landing.
Yeah, sticks the landing. You're right. Yeah. All right. So you got me there.
Yeah.
You talked me into it, man. Probation. You talked me into it. You got it. That's what you got. That's what you got. All right. All right, let's get into the hot takes. I'm gonna go first, man.
Alright.
This is the thing about this movie. And I was thinking about like, you know, Thomas Crown is they wouldn't even they almost wouldn't even make a character like this anymore. And I was thinking about how, you know, we've covered so many movies that were like gangster kind of films, right?
Mhm.
And for a long time, cinema has made so much off of gangster mafia films, whether it's, you know, of course, The Godfather, Godfather 2, Carlito's Way, all those movies, right? And then, like, when you look at how movies have sort of changed, it started to become more of like the heist movies have always been popular, but then you had like this movie, then you had like Ocean's 11, Ocean's 12, Ocean's 13. Then you had the women version of Ocean's 11.
Yeah.
Then you had like Out of Sight. And I think what happened is like there's this interesting thing about American culture where it is fascinated with the idea of thieves, right? And it's fascinated with the idea of like thieves becoming more and more like regular everyday people. So like now the theft and the criminal stories, they're not in movies anymore. They're on Netflix shows. So it's like Netflix show like Ozark, you get Marty Byrde, or like, Breaking Bad, you get Walter White, like regular dudes now, right? Even on Apple TV, the Friends and Neighbors joint, the Andrew Cooper character, regular guys that really just become hardened criminals. And I think the hot take is like, it's something off. I'm going to say off is my word about American culture, that it believes everybody, anywhere, anytime can become a master thief, and that the society at large should view that person not so much as a criminal, as long as they are taking or stealing from someone else who is perceived to be rich or wealthy or a corporation or maybe a thieves themselves. So I think we got to ask ourselves, like, why do we turn thieves into heroes in our modern society now?
You should have went last, man.
Nah,
Ooh,
I
that's
know you're
powerful right there,
no, your
yo.
joint's about to be fire, man. I wanted to
Nah,
just, I just laid down the kindling for it, man.
That's powerful, man. There is some type of endemic thing within this society that celebrates criminality.
And what is that, right?
Yeah.
Why do we see like, even if you think about Heat, right, which we love, right? I didn't want Neil to get I wanted him to get away.
Yeah.
But I also knew that Al Pacino wasn't going to let him.
No.
You know what I mean? Like now you see movies where like Dennis Leary in this movie, he like, man, forget it. He got that off.
Yeah, he
man.
got that off.
Like, could you imagine if at the end of Heat, he's looking at Robert De Niro run away. He like, no, he got that off. Like, he just got in his car, went home. He wouldn't do that. Like, that wouldn't happen. But that was a different time. Now, you let the criminals get away with it. Now everybody just gets, at the end of Ozark, the Bird family got away with it.
Yes, they do.
Like I know Walter White didn't, so I understand that.
But he had cancer though.
Yeah,
so
but like these, like it's something weird. Even we haven't done Crime 101. I watched it, but it's like,
I watched it too,
yeah, even the end of that, like essentially, they like, nah, let him get away with it. What?
Yeah.
Like, what kind of criminal? What kind of police is this, man?
Bruce Banner was like, yo, the money's still here, the criminal's here, case closed.
What? Like, yo, probation. What? No, he stole all these people got killed. Anyway, that's my hot take, man. What's your hot take?
Yeah, I love that, man. I love that. For me, Thomas Crown, he's not necessarily a criminal mastermind, but more so he's just an adrenaline junkie. You know how they do parkour and jumping out of airplanes and things like that. This for him, he's an elitist who gets his thrill based upon committing crimes. His adrenaline and his blood starts flowing. And I think that's a substitute for his life being diluted by excess. He's around all these rich and powerful people who know what it means to truly be wealthy. They're not just rich, they have wealth. And I think the fact that he plays this person who's so meticulous, so crafted in what he does and how he does it, it's all an illusion. The genuine thing behind it, the real essence of what it is that he is trying to make up for that which he doesn't have. And he doesn't have emotional security. He doesn't have the maturity of someone who understands what it means to go through the ups and downs of loving and being hurt by someone who loves you. Remember, it's not some random individual comes out and hurts you or is able to get to you. Usually the enemy lies within or they're next to you. And the reason why is they know you better than you know yourself, or they know the things that are going to hurt you. Remember, it was, as Cormega said, betrayal is what put Christ in the grave. And with that, you have
shout out to Easter.
Yeah,
shout out to Easter Sunday.
We tried to have a couple of references here for those who have been keeping up. But the film reframes the whole heist entirely. You know, the prize is now about one's heart, one's emotions. And I think both, not just Thomas is guilty of this, but so is Catherine. They're guilty of giving up that vulnerable side of themselves to the other one. Ironically enough, both of them are thieves, and they're expressing this in their own way. The subtleties, the sly remarks, the fast pace of their relationship in its sense. You know, they don't take the time to truly get to know each other, sit down, have a cup of coffee, if you will, and say, hey, what's your favorite color? And where'd you go to school type stuff. You know, everything is more about how do they feel in the moment. And yet simultaneously, you know, you have that this is a high stakes game, not just with the painting, not just with getting caught and going to jail, but what happens when you do divulge the true essence, the true soul to someone else. You know, now it's for real. Now there's no running and hiding. There's no escape, you know, because you love that person because you need them, and you need that person because you love them. What happens then once all of the platitudes and the you know, fakes and the niceties and the platitudes are done? What happens once all that's gone and you're just left with the raw essence of a person? This movie demonstrates that by saying, hey, you know what? I'm willing to throw all of that away. My success, my career, whatever that means, and I'm willing to solely focus on you because you complete me and I complete you, and I can't go through life without you knowing this and wanting to be with you. And even with that being said, the film's final sleight of hand suggests not just him putting the painting back in the water and showing that the painting was always there, et cetera, but it's not just the theft itself. It's convincing someone else that you're worth the risk.
There it is, man. That's a good look. That was good, man. Talking about my joint. That was a good hot take, man. Yo, probation. You got it, man. Anyways, so that's our breakdown of the Thomas Crown Affair. It's Thomas Crown Affair. Once again, it's available on Tubi, so you can check it out when you get a chance. Once again, Sticky Floors Podcast is available wherever you get your podcasts. We're on Apple Podcasts, we're on Spotify Podcasts, we're on YouTube, where we want you to like, subscribe, and share. And we will see you again soon. Peace.